Hi! You're watching Kerry Lyons of The Imperfect Life, and I am here to help you create the life you want whilst also loving the messy adventure of creating it. And I am here today with Jennifer MacFarlane, the money medium. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for being here today and accepting my invitation. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Carrie. I'm so excited to be here with you and your listeners.
Thank you. So, just as a bit of background for this series, so this is the Imperfectionista of the Month series, and Jennifer kindly accepted my invitation to be a part of it. It's designed to help you get inspired, okay, to see that there are different ways of doing things, there's different ways of creating your life the way you want it, and it doesn't have to be a kind of off the shelf conventional box of what you possibly know right now and what you know of the people around you. It can be anything you want. And like Jennifer's personal story has like insanely inspired me, from using her struggles to make it her successes. She's an ordinary woman who's created her own extraordinary journey, and that's what I'm here to help you share. Because I've worked with Jen last year for like 6 months, a little bit over probably of my life, and she's helped me fundamentally, instrumentally, with my mindset and my kind of personal growth, and even like with my business last year. So she's got the goods. So yeah, it's amazing to watch you in action and see what you do. So I would love you to share with my perfectionistas who might not know you, because for some bizarre reason they might not know you. Tell them a little about
There's a
who
lot
you
of
are.
people in the world.
Yeah, there is a lot of people in the world. Tell them a little bit about who you are, what you do, all that jazz.
So, my now self, who I am, I always like to really start off by saying, I'm a human. I love that you say an ordinary woman doing extraordinary things, because in the end, we're all ordinary people.
Yeah.
Everybody's an ordinary person, right? So I wrote a book years ago called Think, Create, Jump, because ever since I was young, I really took on loving the mind. I was obsessed with how it worked, and I was always observing how different people were and how they responded to things differently. And I always questioned why, like why everything. So writing my book was a long journey. I wanted to write a book since I was a teenager. I knew that was going to be something that I was going to be.
Yeah.
I was going to be an author. There was just a 30-year period of time in between where that didn't happen. Which is a lot of people's story. People can rather, you have children, and then you're like, whoa, right, I had that dream. Ordinary woman, I worked in restaurants, I did all kinds of work until I just wanted to do what was inside of me. I wanted to start sharing that. Yes. I came from a yoga and hypnosis background, and I was the seeker. I was out there always looking for the next thing that I could possibly do. But when I actually stopped searching outside of myself, I realized that who I was to become was actually all within me.
Yes, love it.
So now I show up in the world as I'm honored and pleased with what I'm able to do, using my sort of intuitive gifts and empathic gifts and feeling into people, and being able to be the person that they can share their lives with on a deep level. And we can explore, especially in the realm of money, but that takes us everywhere. It's never really just about money.
Yeah.
And deprogramming, and then how to change that. So I do feel like now I'm using my spiritual gifts, what I was gifted here on this planet with this time, and using those. And I think we can all do that.
Yeah. And it feels amazing when you actually tap into them and use them, and it just feels so like easy and like, why didn't I do this before? Isn't it? It's like effortless.
Because it's the most natural part of you.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
and you kind of operate under the name of the Money Medium.
Yeah, how fun is that?
Yeah, I love it, and that's how
Can't believe
I
they got
know
the
Jen.
domain name.
Yeah, and that's how I know Jen. So I was introduced to Jen through Sarah Aquasombe, who I've also done some coaching work with, and yeah, the two of them combined created a course as well called Money Manifesting that I did at the beginning of last year, which evolved into one-to-one coaching, and it was just like mind-blowing. So if you feel like you want to get any kind of mastery of your mindset around money, definitely check out Jen. I'll pop details of how you can get hold of her and all that kind of jazz in the post. But yeah, she's a goddess basically. But like before goddess status, if we just go like back a bit, tell me about the Jen that you were before you started kind of like using your kind of like natural born strengths, living your life wonderfully, flawsomely. Like what was life
How far
like?
back do
Your
we want to
struggle.
go?
The struggle. I want to talk about the struggle.
Yeah, so, I think life was a struggle. I grew up in a very small town in Nova Scotia, Canada, on a road called Black Hole Road, which is exactly what it felt like. Nobody had dreams. Nobody did after school curriculars. We'd all get together as kids and play ball outside or whatever.
Yeah.
But most of the parents were divorced. There was a lot of alcoholism. It was Black Hole Road. And from that, I honestly I wasn't a strong student in school. And so I moved out west in Canada shortly after finishing high school with a good friend. We just jumped in a car, drove across the country. And this is where I stayed, and life started opening up. I started meeting different people, more open-minded people talking about their dreams, and stuff started opening up really quickly to me, about me, that I never knew about myself. Mm-hmm. And I ended up working sort of in service industry, in restaurants, which was great because here in Canada, there's tipping and there's lots of money. But I wasn't able to hold on to that money. I've been through a lot of the struggles that I work with people with now, right?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, how did I make $60,000 last year and not have a cent of it left, right?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But then I really got into yoga and Kundalini yoga, which is, it's a very traditional, I'm not a super traditional person, but the teachings that I did take taught me the science of the mind, taught me how to go in and understand the intricate workings of my own mind. And that's when I was able to take that with my intuition and empathy and work with other people.
So do you think that was the moment? Because I know that you said that you had kind of these issues with money and kind of not being able to hold on to it, and kind of reaching this point of, okay, something needs to change now and I need to, whether it is that case, or was it the case of kind of,
was that the moment?
Yeah, or was there like a moment, or was it like a gradual journey?
That was a moment. The moment
was
I was I was a new mom, my early 20s, and we all know that in our 20s we're kind of partying life away, we're not paying attention, and I woke up to $60,000 of debt.
Okay, there's a moment.
And I was like, what the hell? How, like, I honestly felt like I was trapped for life. I didn't know how it happened or how I was going to get out of it.
Right.
And, after figuring it out, so in that moment, let me stick with you. In that moment, I realized life has to change. Right. Like this cannot be, I can't live like this. I can't be the person with that cloud over my head. Mm-hmm. So that was the moment, which is funny because you'd think in that moment, you'd go, I need to work harder.
Right.
But in that moment, it actually made me go, I need to connect deeper to who I am and bring that into the world, because what I've been doing ain't working. The harder I work, this is not working.
Yeah.
So that's when I actually stepped out, which is horrifying for most people to think about at that point, stepping out on your own and starting something of your own.
Amazing. Yeah. So you didn't really feel, did you have any kind of like inner battles at that point for you to try and like overcome, or was it just seemed quite just a natural kind of
It was
step?
very, it actually, once I acknowledged it, it was very natural. And there was a little bit of a slow process, right? There was, okay, there was an exit strategy. There was, I'll stay here until I leave. But it was really quick. And that's when I got really motivated to understand money, to have a better relationship with money, to be more open with my husband about money, because we were both like, oh, it's her, it's him. So.
And you're with your husband at the point of this the debt, obviously, because you were just a new mum. So it was a case of just not really acknowledging money at all.
Yeah. Nobody was. And there just always seemed to be money, so we thought we were great. Now looking back, I'm like, I have no idea how I have credit cards but have no idea what the balance are.
Right.
Like, never opened the mail.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll get you the debt.
Did not log in.
Yeah, right.
Online.
Yeah.
And how we still how did we even accumulate 60,000? How were we able to get that much credit?
Yeah.
And that's why you learn. Yeah, they kind of set it up for you so that you can keep going.
Of course, yeah.
So when I started to shift into writing my book and bringing my spiritual essence out, which first came in the form of teaching yoga and then teaching meditation and then doing hypnosis, because I had to stay true to the traditions that I was learning.
Exactly.
But when I started merging the traditions, instead of trying to do them as a separate entity, they really brought out my gifts fully. And that's when life completely changed. It took us about 1.5 years to get $60,000 out of debt.
Wow.
Yeah. Plus,
that's amazing.
At that time, we paid for a brand new car. And, and we up-leveled the whole way through. We did not scrimp. I decided in that moment, I'm not going to go down that road of lack. We're going to pay attention and continue to grow from here.
Amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. And that comes from the kind of almost the empowerment of stepping into what you should be doing, that it just becomes like the add-on.
Yes. Almost alignment.
Yeah, exactly. Being in alignment with it.
Yep.
Amazing.
And that's what I believe. And I see it every day. When people are in alignment, when I got in alignment, when I see other people get in alignment, that's when everything flows abundantly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. I think because the same was for me with when I realized that my kind of like inner coach, or the coaching natural strength within me, was something that I realized I'd actually been doing since I was like a teenager.
Like, naturally, everybody came to you.
Yeah, well, my poor ex-boyfriend, he kind of got coached without even wanting to be coached. But yeah, like I definitely had friends would kind of like call me like the guru as just a joke, and obviously I was just taking it as a joke. But it does seem like even now, it's only on reflection, now I'm here, that I can kind of just piece all these things together and go, oh, it's like a magnetic kind of draw. So
and a lot of the times, if people look back to who they were as a child or as a young, youthful person, who they were naturally is what they want to bring forward, or what becomes their new alignment when they reconnect with it.
Yeah, it's a huge indicator, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think for anyone that's trying to like find their natural strengths and kind of tune into it, thinking of the things that you find so easy that it almost seems bizarre to think, how could I ever make that part of my career, or how could I ever make that part of my day-to-day life? Because it's just like, can't everybody do this? Why isn't everybody
Mm-hmm.
doing it? And no, they can't.
Yeah.
It's just not. Yeah, it's whatever you
We're
think
not
is
all meant to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever you think is super easy to you is not super easy to everyone else.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. But that's amazing. So, is there anything that you wish that you would have known then that you know now, as in like
Man, if
words of
somebody
wisdom?
would have told me, the problem is in grade school, teachers aren't telling you you're so gifted. They're telling you, they're marking you and basically showing you how horrible you are at certain things.
That's true,
So if
actually, isn't it?
somebody
Yeah.
would have actually, if somebody from my future could have spoken to me, or if I was more tuned into my intuition. But I don't think our parents, that generation, didn't know how to nurture. It was all about education and doing well. They didn't
Yeah.
care about anything else. But if my future self could have stepped in and gone, you know what, you're extremely gifted at helping people, which I know.
Yeah.
I knew. I was also the person, I'd be at a party and I'd be on the outside, the doorstep, talking to somebody through their, I'm about to
Influence
attempt
of tears.
suicide.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's bizarre,
I,
actually.
we know we've been those people. That's what's the most natural. So if my future self would have said, this is who you're here to be, just be that.
Yeah. That's huge. Yeah, that's a
That's
bit
huge.
goosepimply, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. And it's kind of like, again, because I'm conscious that there's people that watch this that are looking for their thing. They're trying to find out,
Yeah.
make some sense of like their 20s and their 30s or even their 40s
Yeah.
to try and like find out who they actually are. Like just be in tune with that. Realize that it's like whatever your natural kind of like gift is,
Yes.
if it doesn't fit into a box that you think is present in your life now, you can make a new box.
Yeah. Build the box, baby.
Build the box, baby.
Build
Love
that.
it. Love it. Love it.
And I always say, if somebody's having a hard time, like they're like, I just want to know what my gift is, right? That can get kind of frustrating when you're in that space.
Yeah.
Especially
Definitely.
if you know you've got it and you try it and it doesn't work right away, because you've got to remind yourself, this is your life gift. You're here for your life to do this, right? It's not and it's hard to take on that concept because now we live in a world where we've been programmed, do this, get the best paying job, do it until you can retire, and then retire.
Yeah.
And then you basically die because you retire. So imagining bringing in a new program of what's my life purpose is completely a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
But I always say, there's clues. The universe has been leaving you clues. Look at your bookshelf. Look at the songs that inspire you, the people you watch on YouTube, the podcasts you listen to. You've been surrounding yourself with messages from your spirit for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I love that's great advice, actually. Like, you don't realize it's such a subconscious, natural, easy thing that it's like, it's almost like too glaringly obvious for you to be like, no, it's not. It can't be that. I need to look beyond that.
Yeah,
and it's like,
it's
not.
that.
That's what it is.
I'm too good at that.
Yeah.
It's like people that have art books all over their houses. Yeah, but I'm just naturally good at that. And it's like, well,
yeah, I do.
Maybe you should try selling a piece.
Yeah, give that a go first.
Give it a go.
Definitely. So just kind of going back to like the money side of things. So if someone listening to this is, potentially obviously maybe struggling with the, finding their thing and finding what their strengths are. If someone kind of tries to come with that with like a real crappy money story and like really bad money blocks, maybe they're in the debt and they're just thinking like, I can't actually move forward with any of that because of all this, the weight of like debt or the weight of, never been able to kind of like break out of like 15 grand a month or something, like, where can they start?
I think the most thing that the natural response when you know you have debt is to try to avoid it. And it does not get better if you avoid it. So the first thing is get really clear and honest about all of your debt.
Yeah.
Write it all down. And yeah, you're going to feel all kinds of emotions at first, and guilt and shame and da 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 da. You're going to judge yourself. Just let that flow and try to be gentle with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? At that point, be gentle, because yeah, it's shocking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sort it all out. Even if you owe your mom money, write it down on that and just get clear. Because what you start to acknowledge, if you can let yourself acknowledge it, is you want to live a bigger life than you're letting yourself believe that you can have.
Yeah.
So you keep
Absolutely.
trying to scrimp yourself into a really tiny box to survive when your debt is actually showing you want a bigger life.
Oh, I like that.
That's a juicy one,
That is
right?
a juicy one. Repeat that one, because
So,
that's a good one.
yeah, make a meme, girl, go to town. um, and then you can go, okay, I do want that. I do want to be able to afford a vacation every year or a couple times a year, whatever it is. When you actually look at what you've spent your money on, they're experiences, they're things that you want. A lot of the time people buy courses or education on credit or concerts or vacation. And just acknowledge that those are experiences you wanted. Don't let yourself feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Now it's just you owe somebody money. It's time to start pay it back.
Yeah, I love that. I actually, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I have like, I'm still reeling on that thing about almost like the fact that you're in debt
Yeah.
means that you want a bigger life than what you're currently giving
Mhm.
yourself.
Yes.
That's huge.
It's huge. And then you can go, okay, I want to charge more.
Mm-hmm.
I need to charge more,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not valuing my worth, whether it's I'm at a workplace or I'm a freelancer, or,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So it's an opportunity to look where you've never looked before at how you want to grow. Then start building a better relationship with money. So
Mm-hmm.
notice if you are constantly surrounded by negative people that talk about money, the economy, the da 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 da, real estate, is it all in the shitters with the people that you're talking with? Because if your mindset and your internal dialogue and what you're surrounded with is really negative vibration about money, that's what you're going to experience.
Yeah.
The universe will continue to give you what you vibrate at.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can even start to go, you know what? Money can come easy. I see it for other people, even if you don't see it for yourself yet.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can start to lift the vibration a little. If you can start to say, I can make friends with money,
Mm-hmm.
you know, then it starts to heighten the vibration. I know there's more opportunities that I can pursue. Then it starts to lift. So you start shifting little by little the thoughts, the people you surround yourself with, the news channels you're listening to, which I would just remove all the news channels if I were you.
Yeah.
But pay attention to what vibration you're listening to, because you'll always continue to attract the same thing. And only you can shift it.
Yeah. And that's exactly what me and Jen did when we worked together as well. There was one really underlying belief that I had. It was related to money, as obviously Jen was saying earlier. It kind of starts as a money conversation, but it's just so much bigger than that, like 99.9% of the time. And for me, it
Yeah.
was feeling around feelings of worthiness and
Yep.
like basically tracing it back to my 11 plus at 11 years old, when I didn't basically get into a grammar school when my older sister had, and then afterwards actually my younger sister did as well, which I only really realised after our conversation. So it was
Oh.
like triple the failure. But yeah, that point, that kind of like on a kind of granular level in my own kind of like family, my own household, I didn't feel like I was good enough.
Yeah.
And all I needed to do was kind of go back to 11-year-old me, tell myself that I love myself, I was proud of myself, and that I was good enough. And it was just like the weight. And it's just like, oh, there's like, it just opens up a whole new perspective on so many things.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I know.
money
And
being a huge part of
it sounds so simple. It sounds like, whoa, how could that have stuck with you for so many years? But those little tiny things, especially when as a kid we're told or we assume on some level that we're not good enough, that sticks with us for life. It can,
Yeah.
if we don't deal with it. A lot of women I work with, there's trauma, abuse of some sort that lowers their worthiness. And you need to be gentle when you open up those pots, but you can shift your value. You can shift your internal gauge of worthiness.
Yeah.
And
the
that's
internal
when,
dialogue as well. Yeah. That
yeah,
goes with it.
that's when the universe starts allowing you to receive more. You know, you start allowing yourself to receive more.
Yeah. That's amazing. So yeah, I hope that some people have took some like super golden juice from that, because it's like, yeah, it's groundbreaking. If you can get to that point where you can really look at the beliefs around your money mindset and essentially why you've got to the place where you are, if you are in debt, or if you do feel stuck at like this salary cap or a revenue gap, if you are like self-employed, not cap. Look back at what the beliefs are behind that. Because
where did that trauma or that belief get instilled?
Yeah.
Where did it come from?
Exactly. Yeah. So amazing.
If we could get the world to question that, ooh,
and there, yeah.
baby.
What a Skype call that would be. Amazing. So yeah, that was just like, that's the first little Imperfectionista of the Month interview. And I guess I just want to say, like, how can people reach you, Jen, find out about you, get in touch with you, all the things?
Thank you. It's been an honor. I love you so much, Kara. I love what you're doing, what you're bringing to the world. You've got you, the listeners, or whoever is viewing you, you've got an amazing leader in Carrie. So, what did you ask me? Oh, where they can find me. But yes, you're just so amazing, and it's lovely to see you flourish into your highest and best self as well.
That's lovely. Thank you so much.
People can find me at The Money Medium. My website is themoneymedium.com. On Instagram, I'm The Money Medium. Facebook, The Money Medium. So if you look up The Money Medium, you'll find me.
Yeah. And let it rain.
Yeah.
Let it
rain. I'll be making it rain out there.
Amazing. So yeah, thank you so much. Hope everybody has enjoyed watching this. Don't forget to leave any comments if you've had any major takeaways or like bong chime moments of like aha moments. Yeah, we want to hear them, because it's good to know, where you're kind of like sitting on the gauge of the caps and the lows and the highs. So yeah, thank you so much, Jen. And
beautiful. Thanks for having me.
I will see you all guys next week in the blog. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Bye.